Oh, hi, everybody. My name is Matt Storrs, and welcome to Mattsplaining. On today's episode, I have an expert on who I'm very excited to speak with. Expert, please introduce yourself and tell us what you're an expert in.
Pleasure. My name is Kelsor Jaquan. I'm an expert in entertainment technology and casting.
Fantastic. I think that one of the most important things, I think that there's been a big trend in recent years. There's been a push for casting directors to get recognized at more award shows for all of the work that they're doing. And
Hmm.
the then that hasn't necessarily gained as much traction as people would want because they have instances where like a movie is effectively saved, a movie is effectively elevated by having these actors in it that might not necessarily people might not necessarily think they go well together. Very much like maybe creating a dish or a dessert, putting balsamic vinegar on watermelon or on ice cream. People are like, why would you want to do that? And then you do it and you're like, oh my God, that flavor has, really changed the complexity of this thing, making
Right.
it something brand new. And I think that what technology does with it is you basically put everything into an algorithm and you can really like create a movie opportunity. You still got to do the negotiations, you still got to massage the relationships and everything like that, but you can really
Hmm.
put yourself in a position where this algorithm can pop out not only the cast but suggestions for where the movie should go because you have that cast. So you have somebody that is really like a heartthrob or what have you. And you had a movie that was really like emotional and complex. And then you're like, hey, what we do need to have a shirtless scene, even though like everything else about this is like they're dealing with their parent dying of cancer, for instance. And it's like, yeah, they're showing their emotional range. And the computer has said,
Precisely.
yeah, the computer showed like, yeah, they can do this. But also because they're in the movie, be sure to have that shirtless scene because you want to play to the characters or the actor's strengths. And it's one of the biggest things. And you think like with traditional casting directors, they're going to be a little bit uncomfortable sometimes making that recommendation. They don't want to fully influence the production in that way, but it's a computer.
Hmm.
The computer knows more than we know, and they can look at all of the previous films that they've been in and how successful they've been and what is the common denominator and all of those. Oh, you get a shirtless scene. Like for instance, like in the recent documentary film Twisters, you have Mr. or I guess it's a
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you have Glen Powell playing. I guess it's not fully a documentary; it's a dramatized documentary of our great and courageous tornado hunters. But you have a scene where Glen Powell, puts on a cowboy hat and decides to walk in a white t-shirt in the rain. And you see that scene and you're like, why is this scene in the movie? Like, yes, we need him to get to his truck and potentially drive away. But really, you look at that scene and you realize like they filmed it 5 or 6 times. And
Yeah, yeah.
they knew that they're like, okay, this is how much water we want to get on that white shirt. And I think that they picked the one that was like still like very suggestive of the sexual connotation there, but there is one where it is a wet t-shirt contest with Glen Powell just completely soaked, showing off everything. And that would be part of the algorithm for the future times that he gets cast because he's very hot right now. That, oh, hey, we're probably gonna have to decide whether or not we're gonna have a wet t-shirt contest sort of situation with him in this movie where he's playing, I don't know, with the a baker. He's got a bakery and he's got to save the bakery by coming up with a new type of scone or muffin that is ultimately actually just a cupcake. And that but you have to have that scene where he has got to take his shirt off because he's got too much chocolate on him. And I mean, it's a revolution is ultimately what I think it is that you have these relationships that's come together and
Right.
the things that kind of like not unlike Moneyball, where people are trying to get on base. You need to get your actors that can fulfill the roles that work for the movie, but it's a little bit harder based on the statistics. You can look at how often somebody hits, how often somebody catches a ball, but whether or not they can speak in Shakespearean verse might not necessarily work or translate to this film that they have
Mm.
coming up, or whether or not they can improvise. It's harder to establish what those data sets might be. Now, based on what you've heard so far, about how much of that would you say was accurate?
I would say primarily you really hit the nail on the head with this. You really did. You really did a really good job explaining it.
Oh, wow.
Especially,
Okay.
yeah, like you're basically spot on because now, like with the advent of technology in the casting processes, which is really nothing new. We've been, going through this between the, 2000s to the 2010s to now the 2020s. The casting process has definitely been taking a metamorphosis, right?
Mhm.
So casting directors, when they're looking for the right actors for these specific roles and stuff, casting directors, we really don't have a lot of time, right? So we're always trying to get these roles fulfilled the best way we know how, with the right talents that we know for a fact will get the job done based off of everything that is asked and required of us with the least amount of friction. Friction is, for example, the casting websites of today, right? So
Mhm.
you have the usual suspects, right? You have backstage, you have actors access, you have a lot of industry players, and what they're really good at is casting directors have so many tools to get so much information and so many actors for these particular roles that they're casting for. But a lot of the time it'd be fluff. It'd be like I got a guy who has no idea what a headshot is, trying to apply for this role and stuff like that. So it's like the the technology and tools that's available now is able to really cut that time in half because
I see.
we don't have a lot of time to get a lot of this stuff, a lot of these castings done for these particular films, especially when you're on a time crunch and you're trying to get that talent for the mains, the principals, the backgrounds, all of these different things. You really want to get it done as fast as possible, as quick as possible, and as effectively as possible. And that's what the tools being developed now and some that's already deployed is actually doing. It's the same with agents. We want to get to the people that we know can get these jobs done as fast and effective as possible, while also helping the talent, even the ones who wasn't selected, possibly find the roles that they are perfect for. So with we've had like so many different things that's been occurring that's been changing Hollywood. So we had the COVID pandemic, then we
Mhm.
had the strikes, the multiple strikes, the actors, the writers. Thank God Teamsters didn't do it, but
Mhm.
we had that as well. So now we're coming into this new era where there's so many things that's been shaken up in the industry in Hollywood from the top to the bottom, and casting directors is right there in the smack center of it because without talent, there is no movie.
Absolutely. It feels like you're to some degree like in a true coordinating position where you like a kind of like a bridge, if that makes sense, to make
Right.
sure that things can work as effectively as possible. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, spot on. Absolutely. It's definitely a bridge. And our role is really great because our role, we get to talk and experience so many different people, so many different walks of life, so many skills and everything like that, that it's truly a blessing to be in this like middle section between the arts, the technology, and then the Hollywood just formula of how it's been working since day one. So all of this is kind of coming together. And casting directors now is getting a lot more tools available, especially with the advent of AI, advent of AI coming in. It's even easier to some degree to find the actual talents that you need. It doesn't even translate just to the actors in general. There's lots of when for example when you need an animal on set, you definitely need like a dog or a trained dog or trained snake or something like that. And so many different things is coming into play that's making this a really interesting time for entertainment technology. And in terms of the casting, really, really effective. So it's mainly about all helping the casting directors getting their job done as effective and easy as possible, as well as on the talent side, it's actually also helping them because they'll be able to find castings, job opportunities, gigs, etc., even faster by connecting them to where they need to go and as effective as they need to go. Like you have the beginning, the actor who just started, just realized that they want to do this as their career and make something of themselves. Well, great, let's connect them to someone who is doing like a short film or a film that's like medium budget or something like that so they can get their first chops as an actor, the first lines and everything like that. So you're starting to see the system and the new technologies that's coming into play really start helping people in ways that hasn't been done before. Because if you talk to a lot of actors when they're first starting out, they really have nowhere to like figure things out with it. Like I kind of just pieced it together as I went along. But now it's becoming more streamlined in just how, the process goes without the anxiety of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. During on the fallout of the pandemic, I was looking from personal experience, looking at backstage and everything like that, trying to get gigs and trying to there's going to be these new productions, there's going to be these new opportunities that are out there, and there's going to be kind of shift in dynamic, like maybe I can make some headway and stuff. And I was able to do some stuff during that time, but I did get, and I still get the emails for my profile and the stuff that I filled out and everything like that. But
Right.
it feels like it would be, I'm very much not something where I'm checking it every day or anything like that. But very much feels like it would be so, especially first getting into it, it would be so overwhelming to see all of these potential things that are out there and try and apply to every single thing that
Right.
might fit you. And so having something that could be, filtered and kind of guided a little bit, even if you didn't have that full representation, and then they could kind of scrape and say like, oh, there is these people with these profiles that have applied before. Oh, let's do a direct outreach to those people that have those trained snakes or those trained horses or whatever it is. And so you
Hmm.
don't have to rely on the fact of like, yeah, on 3 movies ago I worked with this guy and he was able to do this stunt. It's like, oh, hey, we have 3 potential stunt guys that could do this, and we don't have to like hope for the recommendation from somebody that is supposed to be good but may not like have as much experience. It feels like it would save so much time.
Precisely, and you're spot on with that, because that's like really a lot of how it goes in the casting business. It is once you get that select really good pool of talent that you worked with before and was really good, you're gonna reach out to them again, right? As well as the fact that like when talent when it's first starting out, and so it is definitely daunting. It's definitely daunting. I started off as an actor, so I know exactly how that is when it's like you have all of these different opportunities just kind of blasted at you, and you're like, well, I'm just getting in the door. Like I'm just getting in the door. I don't know what a headshot is. I don't know what a reel is. I don't know what a professional acting resume looks like. The template for it. I don't know any of this stuff. What do I do? And is you have to search and find it out. So a resource which is actually being developed now in entertainment technology is, for example, when you go to your profile and stuff, right?
Mhm.
I'll use Backstage as an example. You see everything that you can put on your profile, which is a lot of stuff. That's definitely going to help. That's why I love Backstage. There's so many great things there. But asking like, okay, well, what is this? Like, what is these things that I need? I see I have to fill all this stuff out, but I have no idea like the intricacies of it. I have no idea where is there anybody around me that even does headshots, for example? Like, and that's where the technology is coming into play and really helping people get a lot of that anxiety out the door. Was like, okay, I can check, okay, what's a headshot? Okay, now I know what a headshot is. Okay, who is a professional photographer that I can, trust and go to for a headshots that I can get done, right? And it'll immediately tell you that. So the resources is definitely coming together because there's a lot of care now, and because the Hollywood industry has been shaken up so much, that technology is really making a wave. And it's always been a thing with Hollywood and technology always kind of being sort of at odds, because Hollywood has a certain way they do things, right?
Mhm.
And the technology is just technology, right? We're always innovating, we're always creating new things, and it doesn't matter what it is. Again, VFX, FX, every drip work, lighting, the sets, everything is always being constantly innovated in terms of the technology side. So while we're definitely the casting directors are the bridge in a lot of ways, but we also need to build that bridge between the entertainment industry, Hollywood, and also the technology. Like that bridge becoming more solidified will definitely help everyone in this industry.
Absolutely. And it just feels like it'll make it so there is a clear delineation. Like what I think is the thing that makes it so daunting is there's not necessarily a clear delineation of like these are the 5 steps you need to take to make this work. It's like, here's everything. It's like everything is presented to you on the same level, but it's not clear what you need to prioritize. And with the influx of technology and like being able to like give those resources and put those out there, it really feels like it's like, hey, these are the things you need to prioritize. These other things are still here, and you eventually need to know how to fill out a W-9 or whatever it
Yes.
would be. But like that's not something that you need to initially freak out about or prioritize. You need to prioritize your reel. You need to prioritize your headshot. You need to prioritize these other things. And if you can do those, then you can start worrying about the things that are a little less pressing, and somebody could help you out on the production even if it comes to that. And it's like, but when everything is presented to you of like, oh, I'm right, I took a step through the door and there's 15 forms I got to fill out, it's like, what am I going to do?
Hmm. No, you're definitely spot on. There needs to be the bridge between Hollywood and technology, and then the bridge between like the talents and getting in the door and understanding everything that they need, as well as the fact that like when when talents when talents know actors, actresses, models, etc. When they know from the get go what's expected of them in this industry and what they need and what they require, it really saves a lot of headache for casting directors and everybody who's coming after them to facilitate their careers and put them on the map and put them on the next level to step-by-step process. It really helps alleviate a whole lot of stress and a whole lot of confusion. And it also is safer too because it gets rid of there's a lot of bad actors that prey on people who have no idea what's going on and what they really need and how much things specifically cost or how much cash are you expected, like what's your rate for a SAG-AFTRA industry gig and stuff like that, right? So all of this stuff is knowledge and information that definitely needs to be in the talent's hands, the casting director's hands, and everyone's hands, really. And that's what we're starting to really see it emerge in this new wave of Hollywood because we're coming into it now. We're coming into it now, going into 2025. A whole lot of things is definitely changing. We already had new negotiations with all of the strikes that had occurred. The industry, there's so many millions of people and professionals in this industry who have been out of work for a long time and coming back. So you're seeing like the technologies coming in. You're seeing a lot of industry professionals getting work again. You're going to see a lot of productions ramping up again, and having a good equilibrium between all of those is definitely a key for a really strong and healthy entertainment industry.
Absolutely. This has been so informative, and I can't thank you enough for joining me today. If people wanted to learn more about this topic or more about you, where would you recommend that they go?
Absolutely. I would recommend that they go to acthound.com. We've been
Okay.
making a lot of articles on these specific topics. We're working on a lot of features as well and tools. We already have a platform out, Acthound app, where people can find opportunities and jobs. And we're bringing in some AI features and some new stuff too. And we go live and discuss these things with talents and everything so that they know exactly what's coming into our platform, what we're developing for the future of entertainment.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And that, what was where are they able to find that? Is that just acthound.com or,
Yeah,
uh,
definitely acttown.com.
okay.
They can go to our social media as well, mainly Instagram at Acthound, ACTHOUND. And you can find a lot of stuff there. We also offer information in regards to videos. So we do a lot of videos on these different pieces of information that people need to know, actors need to know, etc. And we're working on some new ones too. So we have a lot to offer, and we're making a lot of things that brings a lot of information in because that's how we started is with education. And as we pivoted over to technology, we realized that both are critical, truly critical to Hollywood and a healthy entertainment industry.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. I feel like people are going to be able to get a lot of help if they go into that. This is fantastic.
Thank you
Uh,
for having me.
Absolutely. My name is Matt Storrs, and this has been Mattsplaining. Before we go today, I want to thank Ryan Lawson, my dear friend, for making the theme music for Mattsplaining. Ryan can be reached at beatblenderstudios@gmail.com or at Beat Blender Studios on Instagram and TikTok.